Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel, Reclaim with Dr. David. It's so good to have you back here on my channel. As always, I appreciate your support. I appreciate that you are supporting this channel. Today, we're kicking off with the next episode. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about something that happened while I was in the refugee camp. Now, previously, I talked about starting school. It wasn't easy. My transitioning from home to starting school, my first year of education ever, primary one, it was it was interesting. So now I'm getting towards the end of primary one, and we had to leave the refugee camp. At this point, there was not a lot of support. So we're starting to ask, people to get out of the refugee camp and try to get on with their lives. The area where my house was before the war started, it was like a jungle. In fact, no one was allowed to enter that area. It was still a red zone. Everything had been destroyed. Everything, trees had grown. It was just like a jungle. Monkeys and all kind of animals living in there. So this was a few years later. So when we returned, so now we lived in this refugee camp. I'm in a primary one. The war is still ongoing in the country, but there's not enough support for the refugees. So we need to get out. So my family and all of us, we moved to an area, the closest area that we could live in, so that I could continue going to school, because the school was in the refugee camp. Now we are getting out of the refugee camp. I could not go to any other school, so I had to find ways to continue going to school. I wanted to mention that during my time as a child, there were so many children who were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, who didn't know how to read, how to write, who did not get a chance to go to school. Lots of them. So myself growing up, most of the time I would be the youngest of the class. So as a primary one child, even though I was the youngest, I didn't want to quit school. I wanted to continue. So we went and lived somewhere which was over an hour walk from the refugee camp. So we decided, so at this point they brought a rule that children should come to school with uniform. Those who were still in the refugee camp, they were provided with uniforms, but we didn't get any. So I needed uniform to go to school, and my parents didn't have anything. So I will come on that later, just in a minute. So we lived in over an hour walk journey. So when we moved there, I continued going to school. As a primary one child, think about it. I would walk over an hour, between an hour and a half, 60 to 90 minutes of walk, going to school and coming back home. On my way, there was no houses. At one point, there was nothing on the road. It's just myself and my sister. We walk and walk and walk. Just think about a primary one child walking every single day for an hour and a half on the road. I don't know how. I just wanted to go to school. So I started walking. I remember every single day we arrived home when it was dark. And in the morning, we wake up and walk again back to school. It was kind of fun on the way. This is a time where you won't see any car on the road. You won't see anyone. Or you will see animals, usually monkeys and other things. And you would see a lot of fruits. There were a lot of trees around and fruits. So we just help ourselves on trees, mango, guava, different kind of fruits on the way to school. It was kind of fun, but it was a long, long way. Now, about the uniform. I was there, and I didn't have uniform. And guess where I found uniform? My first uniform was my uncle's uniform when he was in primary 6. So that's what I found. So my mother told me, I found you a new set of uniform that you can use to go to school. And I was so excited, I was so excited. And then I found that was like trousers. The primary 6 size on a primary 1 student. So my mom brought it. So my uncle brought it to my mom. My mom gave it to me. So the trousers, the shorts were like trousers, and the shirt, you can imagine. You can imagine. So it was so huge on me. But at the time I didn't even notice that. I was just so excited. My mom did a pin, on the waist so that it can fit me properly. A pin on the waist of the shorts, or should I call them trousers? And because it was a long journey, so they got us some shoes, and we just walk every single day. Then we found out that there were 2 other children who lived in the same area with us, and there was a new teacher who was a teacher at our school, the refugee camp. So this teacher took the responsibility of taking her 2 children and myself and my sister together back to school and from school. So that was reassuring for my parents to know that there's an adult to actually walk with us to school. Yeah, so that was my life. That was a big change for me. I don't know how today, thinking about it, I cannot comprehend it. So we studied in that school until finish a year, primary 1, and then we found another school that was closer to where we lived. And my mother went there, and the teacher, who was the teacher towards our former school, so at the camp, at the refugee camp, the teacher who used to walk us to school and bring us back home, she played a huge role in securing a place for myself and my sister to be able to go to that other school that was closer. So now we would walk roughly about 45 minutes instead of walking about an hour and a half. So it was about 45 minutes, and that was good. So I went to that school, primary 2 now, primary 3, primary 4. Growing up during that time, war was normal. Hearing gunshots was just like hearing someone talking to you. But there was one code that every child knew. When you hear gunshots, you run home. When you hear gunshots, you run home. And I'm not talking about walk home, run home. So wherever I am, if I hear some gunshots, I'll just run. Make sure that I'm with my parents. Because if you take too long, maybe when you arrive home, there won't be anybody. Everyone would be gone. So you need to be there on time, so that if you have to leave, so you will leave as a family. So I remember going to school in the morning, but just knowing that, if I hear anything, my mom would always say, if you hear anything, come back home. If you hear anything, run back home. And it was just a different lifestyle. Primary 2, primary 3, primary 4. It was very normal for us to hear someone who got shot dead on the road. Now that I'm talking about it, it sounds beyond understanding. But it was normal. You would go to school, on your way to school, they'd say, oh, there is a man on that road. There's a man that got shot dead. He's still there, like kids. And we just walk, it was crazy. And all these things were normal. Until primary 5 now. Primary 5, before I reached primary 5, there's so many things that happened among my friends. I thank God that He protected me. As I was becoming a teenager, so the age of 10, 11, most of my friends were taking the wrong direction. I'm talking a time when kids would join the rebellion movement. I'm sure you've heard of child soldiers. This was the time where even my friends, the boys that I knew, were joining this movement. God is so good. I don't know how He did it. Protecting me, securing me, keeping me safe. Yeah. In my next episode, I will talk about this exact topic. Now, I'm becoming a young man, 10, 11. At the time of the war, you would be seen as a child. You're becoming a man, and now you need to take responsibility. As a boy, you fight for your people. I will talk about that and all the complication things that unfolded during that time. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. I will end this episode here. Before getting to the next episode, I just focus on my time at school. Now I've studied in a new school, closer to home. I don't have to walk miles and miles or kilometers and kilometers away. In primary 2, primary 3, I got a new uniform that fit me. So things were getting better. Yeah, but as I grew up, things started changing. I wasn't seen anymore as a child. And then there are so many temptations around you. How do you navigate them to stay on course of what God has called you to do, to stay on the course of fulfilling the purpose of your existence. How do you do that? We'll talk about that in the next episode. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for reaching to the end of this video. We really appreciate your support for this channel and for my story. I'm sharing this story so that more people will be, inspired, and that those who have lost hope, they can reclaim their hope. We will stop the story there, and we'll continue we'll continue the story in the next video, the upcoming video. In the meanwhile, is there anything that you feel in your heart that you'd like to share from the videos that we have done so far, from the story that I have shared so far? Please go ahead and leave us a comment. It is encouraging for me to see that you guys are engaging and commenting and telling me what you think. Secondly, I would like to encourage you, if you are new to this channel, to subscribe. 64% of those who are watching these videos, you are not subscribed. You are not subscribing. And I would encourage you to subscribe, because this will help us to reach more audience, more people. So please go ahead and subscribe. Also share these videos if you feel that you like them, if you feel like the content is helping you or could help somebody else. So I appreciate your support for this channel, and I'm looking forward to releasing the next video. God bless you, and bye for now. Thank you.